What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and today we're going to be covering a lot of news, especially here in my home state of Washington, where protesters have actually taken over and called an area of Seattle an autonomous zone. They are calling it a sovereign nation. This is not good for the general public. Again, there's a lot of people that love this in Seattle, but what does it mean for the entire country? We'll talk about that in just a second, and a ton of crazy things going on while we're looking that way. We'll be right back. All right, what is going on, guys? My name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Notifications have just gone out to 250,000 people, so hopefully we'll have a good turnout tonight. If you've never been here, again, my name is Adam. This is Marfoogle News. This is actually being played on Marfoogle TV and D-Live. Our main channel is at 155,000 subscribers. That would be Marfoogle News on YouTube. Our backup channel at 118,000 subscribers now is Marfoogle TV. And then, of course, we have our D-Live family. It's growing at almost 21,000. We might actually hit that in the next day. So thank you guys for everyone that has showed up. We'll head over to the chat here in a second. This is a live show, so you never know what's going to happen. Again, we have call-ins at 224400MARF, and we also back up what we say, at least with a bibliography. And again, I'm going to actually show you some cool stuff. I went down to this autonomous zone, and I went there, and I will tell you it was friendly, at least when I was there. I will share the one kind of experience I had. If this wasn't all attached, it is kind of a crazy thing to think about that I could see how somebody not knowing anything about this could go there, see this positive place, see the people in charge, everybody's having a good time, people are spray painting, people are doing artwork, people are, they've got murals where people are respecting the perished, and everybody is kind of chilling. I noticed that bars just had opened up, so there was a few businesses, including a couple that were actually in that zone that were actually serving drinks. They were all still boarded up. Some of them said, this business is owned by a black family. One of them was black-owned with a woman black-owned. They made sure to make that perfectly clear. Those businesses were actually running. Besides the fact that they were boarded up and they had murals on those boards, they were actually still going. I could see, though, this is where I see, and I try to look at all sides, and we try to be as neutral as we can, because that's what news should be. I could see how somebody who doesn't know what's going on, who doesn't follow anything, could walk in there and go, this is awesome. There's no police. There are people basically at the gates. They don't bother you as you go in. They don't really, basically there were armed guards standing there. There was also people basically watching. This gentleman was actually a nice guy. I don't know what his political views are. He doesn't look like, if you look at this picture, you think this guy's, he could be a badass or something like that. He was a very nice guy. He was explaining that, they're trying to keep all night watch and all these things. And the thing is, it's hard when you're talking to somebody who's basically a nice guy to try to think anything else. I am somebody who I judge people by them, not by their past, not by their future. As far as what he's doing here, this is craziness. As far as what is going on, the president is pretty pissed off about this. The president is actually pissed off directly at our mayor, and they have not gotten along for months now. In fact, Mayor Inslee, Jay Inslee, Governor Jay Inslee and then Mayor Jenny Durkin have both kind of played a part in this whole thing. In fact, they backed out the police. Some of the pictures I'm going to show you, or some of the video that I'm going to show you is actually inside that zone. They actually had a stage set up for a concert right in front of which was recently painted over. It says Seattle's People's Department instead of police. And it said this property is now owned by the community. So again, if you try to look at this and you don't know anything from it, and you're not from that neighborhood, then you're like, this is cool. It's like a big party in the street. A lot of the people don't have jobs, so they're going out, and then the people that are supporting the cause, a lot of the people, you can tell that there are good people that have just absolutely good intentions in their hearts. They don't want other people to hurt. And then you have a whole other group of people that there is a narrative there. Either way. Again, this is a sensitive thing. I live here, so that's the thing here. Like, I do support protests in ways, but that's protests. This is something entirely different. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about this. This is absolutely, I don't think we've ever seen this in the world. I'm going to introduce Dex, my co-host. Dex is going to be screening the calls, and he has a whole screen to my left. He's going to be taking any videos, pictures, or stories, archived websites, anything that the caller actually brings in and wants to show the rest of the Foogle fam. He has that on the entire left screen in front of me. So we're going to go over the calls here at the end of the news portion. You can get to any of the articles on our website. Here is our website. It's organized by thumbnails. So you will see this thumbnail. Once you click on it, you will see Autonomous Zone Free Capitol Hill. When you click on that, down below there will be every single article, every single tweet, every single video, including the videos that I have taken. And this is not all of the videos I took in entirety. I took a lot of still pictures, and I took videos, and I obtained drone footage as well. So down here, there's actually, this is an interesting one. Check this out. So this is kind of a top-down looking down at this. Let me see if I can do this full screen so you guys can actually see this. So the quality is probably not going to be... These are all people moving around in a time-lapse. Here, now it's loaded. Okay, here, let's see. So check that out. That is thousands of people. This is the area that is blocked off. These orange barriers have an entrance. And what is really crazy, which I didn't even notice until much later, is I didn't realize they were actually writing BL and then filling out the rest of it as the video was there. I didn't even notice that. I first noticed you're first drawn to this middle intersection, but then this is actually them filling this out. And by the end of the day, this was an entire street, and it had the entire sayings there. This is the park that everybody kind of hung out at. Most of these people are sitting down. Some are, toking it up. Some are whatever. This is normally actually a kind of a rainbow-oriented neighborhood. They always have they have a lot of pride structured businesses. You've got a lot of privately owned restaurants. These are all ma and pa shops. So that's what kind of hurt a lot of the locals when all of the stuff was going down. And that's what it seems like their side is saying about why the police backed out too. Some of the locals said it was getting so bad that the tear gas had wafted into apartments. So this guy was not involved whatsoever. He ended up becoming one of somebody who sat at the gate just because he wasn't involved whatsoever, but it was wafting into his apartment so bad he ended up getting affected. And I talked to him myself, and I believe him. He lived right up on 2 blocks away and away from the park. So all these people in these apartments, when they flooded the whole park with tear gas, they ended up getting the brunt of it. So again, it's like these people don't have anything to do with it, and they got some of it. As far as the protesters and the people, the parts of these different groups that are here, and it seems like it's really... Here's where it gets weird. So I'm going to bring in Dex first. I didn't know, I didn't have any problems until I took one picture, and I'll tell you about that here in a second. Dex, can you tell us, this is just craziness. They're literally taking over city blocks.
Hey, Adam, I'm here. And yes, this is kind of crazy. I mean, this whole notion of of taking over is one thing. I would think from a protest perspective, okay, well, protesters going to hang out and camp and create an area. And then it's even more interesting when they say, hey, we're making our own country and we're autonomous and you're leaving. I saw signs up that said you're leaving America and you're now entering, this other zone, right? That's I've never heard of that. And to be quite honest, I mean, like how does somebody go about doing that? Like creating, their own autonomous area. I don't know that it's probably just for show.
The people I asked did not know.
Right?
The people I asked did not know. They were, with the cause, apparently. And they kind of said, well, it's a sign. I said, how does that go? Did you guys have to fill something out? Like, how does it come officially? Or do you just take over, say it's yours, and because they backed out, it is? They didn't really know. But again, most of them are volunteers, people that are just kind of, in fact, so I even went
I get it. It's like symbolic. It's not real. Because if it's real, like all of a sudden you have to think about, okay, how are you going to trade? How are you going to get, food and water, and who's going to take care of utilities?
And are
you going to buy power from, America, or, it's just like, I get it.
Are you going to do your own grid? Which, by the way, they brought in generators. As I was there was a woman who was helping bring in a generator for the stage to run kind of the concert. On the other side, and even outside of this zone, there was actually a business with an entire band on top of the roof playing. So you could see how somebody that's in their 20s, they would see this. There's bands playing on roofs. The bars just opened back up. I saw at least, and I'll tell you, when you walk, you'll see, I was looking at the footage, and there was quite a few, like pairs, couples, people that were kind of helping their friends because their friends were visually wasted. That's something actually normal for that neighborhood in a lot of ways, because there's a lot of bars, and Fridays and Saturday nights, you'll see that anywhere, right? But this was midday, like, 4 p.m. or whatever, and rightfully so, right? That part, that would be there regardless of what's going on with this, because bars just opened up for 25% capacity. So people are, hitting them back as much as they can, because nobody's been able to go out for 4 months. But as far as the atmosphere, everything, it felt very odd at the same time, because nobody knew if anything was going to pop off. Everybody I talked to said that over the last 3 days or 2 days, it was peaceful, and that was because the police backed out, and they backed out in coordination with Jenny Durkin, the mayor. So they actually told them to get out of there. They completely took over the police department as far as the entire thing covered up. Again, every ounce of SPD or Seattle Police Department was actually covered with Seattle's People Department, things like this. And then there was signs all over the place that actually said, before you enter, leave the cop at the door, or exit the cop out of your heart before you enter. I posted that on Twitter as well. So a lot of those pictures. Then there was a speech about halfway through. A young gentleman was talking about, and it was the same actual kind of songs, or the same sayings that they've said in all of the public ones, as far as the sayings they do, like "we can't breathe" and things like this. Whose life matters, this matters. So I got real close into there. So I had no problem until there was one picture in particular, and I don't know if I ended up putting this. Well, I'll end up showing you this, and I do believe I did put it on Twitter, but I ended up replying to somebody. So this was the gentleman who actually talked. There was a big circle of people. There were people sitting on the ground underneath him. This was a woman that was actually doing a mural of, you can't see her face behind this, but this woman was slain in Seattle by police. And then these kind of signs were all over the place. Again, and then this was in the middle of the intersection. So this was on, I believe, Pike and 13th, I think. This is literally right in front of, about 3 feet in front of these guys is the beginning of the stage, and about 6 feet behind that is the corner, which is the police department. The main entrance that has kind of a circle doors go in both sides, and then, of course, it was all boarded up and evacuated, or I guess abandoned. This was part of the speech here. It was very strange to feeling to walk amongst an area that was at that moment in complete control of unknown people. For me, who, you don't actually know who's staff, who's not, who's this group, who's that group. Of course, BLM was all publicly put out there, but the other groups were not. And it says, but I know this was only the calm before and after the storm. Because I did talk to several people that said this was like the R&R. One gentleman put it as that if you're in the military, this was like the R&R of the week, like rest and relaxation. But everybody was on edge because the previous days before the police left, they were in constant kind of headbutt mode. So I guess the mayor said, oh, we'll just pull out. If you really looked at who was watching this place, it was about, I would say, 10 people, maybe 2 that were actually armed. One person said that they said that there were 16 to 20 guys on bikes that came through, and they said that they were the P boys, the proud ones or whatever. I don't like, we're trying to not say as much. We're fighting algorithms, not people here. So again, they said that they came through at night. So I don't know. I didn't get the rest of the story on that. To if they were coming to like try to break it up or coming to cause trouble or coming to secure, I don't know. But I don't think it would. That's a thing. Like, I guess because of the rules, it's even harder for the police to secure an area than it would be for, say, I don't know, a group of 20 people or something. One of many barriers set up by BLM, and it's adorned with no cops allowed. Please leave the cops out of your heart before you enter. So that was actually on all of these. This was looking into the 13th. This was 13th and Pike, I believe. And then this was where the U-Haul truck was parked. This was the stage. And then right behind it was the police department. And then, of course, the gentleman watching the, I want to say it was the South Gate. There were gentlemen, and they had, I asked one of their permission to take a photo on it. He was the armed guy with a dog. He said no, so I did respect that. As a journalist, I usually try to, if it's not a big crowd, and if it's just getting up in their face, I try not to do that. Again, I actually asked for this guy's permission, and he said yes. With something like this, it's probably everybody's doing it. But again, that's where it comes into the point where, yeah, it was actually pretty crazy. So this is, again, there's a lot of people, and it seems like everybody's kind of going the same flow. And I saw a couple instances where somebody said something, or opposite protester or something was walking around and mumbled something. It was like all of a sudden, everybody's like, that guy's something else, whatever else. I took a picture, and I was just taking pictures of whatever was going on. There was a group of about 7 or 8 pulling water and food in on kind of, what do you call them? Like wagons. And they were pulling water in big cases of water. And they were going into a local business there. So obviously that business is kind of their base of some sort. What I thought was pretty interesting and pretty just crazy is that the homeless man in the doorway actually was like laying back like this and then turned on his side and was like, thumbs up, guys, and turned on his side so they could get through. So he actually like didn't get up or anything. He moved to the side so they could carefully get through him. Right as I took the picture, all 3, I mean, in the picture too, you see all of them just stop and look right at me. And then they come over and they're like, who are you with? And I said, I'm with me. I'm me. And they said, oh, really? And they literally 3 of them came around me and basically surrounded me and said, oh, yeah. What do you take your pictures for? Do you post those somewhere? Do you post them on a website? Do you have a website? And I go, well, yeah, I do. And I said, I do stuff on the side. I do stock photo, which I do. And he's like, oh yeah, no, that's okay. Okay, so let me take that down. And I'm like, I'd rather not. It's it's my personal thing. Like I don't just give it out to stranger, maybe a client or maybe my my viewers, but not somebody who just like kind of comes up to me and says, give me your information. It felt like I was standing in front of 3 cops. That's what was funny about it. And seeing all those signs saying, leave the cop at the door, and then them like basically getting, 3 inches around, 3 of them around me, and then it was 2. Then they're like sitting there like a police with a pad of paper saying, hey, okay, so where is it? Okay, let me get your email. Let me get you this. Let me get that. And they were nice enough after that. They said, okay, no worries, whatever. But I just wonder what would have happened if I answered differently or just said straight up like, none of your business. Because there were like 10 of them, and then the 3 that came over, you could just tell they were just on edge and ready to go. So I obviously took a picture of something that group was part of a different kind of group. Everybody else was super friendly and everybody's positive. People were smoking in the street and doing all this. They even had a smoking section in the street. It was literally a smoking section for people who smoked cigarettes. I thought that was pretty Seattle. So that was my experience here. As far as that goes, you just don't know. Because I do have a bigger lens, and, it's not something that just normal people carry around for hobbies. Usually it's a big Canon 70 to 200. So usually they think press. So I get why they did, but at the same time, it's like you could tell it was just really right there. On the other hand, they had zero resistance. There was no police there, and they had the whole area taken over. And they believe it's a sovereign area. So I don't know if that's true.
Adam,
yes.
quick question. How many people do you think were there at the time, at any given time?
Well, I'm not the best at judging number, but it was probably at least 5,000 to 10,000.
Okay, but was it like shoulder to shoulder, or is it just? We saw the video, so I guess we kind of get an idea. There's a lot of people coming and going. How many people do you think that were there actually lived in that actual area versus were from outside? And were they staying there? Were they? I saw some other images where they were setting up tents and stuff. Were people actually camping there on the street?
Yes, there was actually at least 12 to 15 tents. And then, actually, what's funny about this picture, I noticed way later, this van, I ended up taking pictures in color and up close. This was a van, like an electrical van filled with goodies and candy bars and food that was donated by somebody or something. And then, yeah, they had tents. So people, the perimeter watch people, they were holding that down. I asked, are you guys 24/7? And they said, yeah. At least people to block it off. They said that neighbors and people that lived there could get through, or anybody who owned a business there could get through. Otherwise, they actually had a car parked and they could not get through. There was a point where there was somebody trying to get through that was bringing the generator, and they had to wait for about 45 minutes for the gentleman who owned one of the cars to get through. So they just kind of hung out. And I think they got kind of impatient at one thing, and they finally called them. They had communications. They had everything else. Some of them were in kind of camo. It just, to me, it was just kind of odd, because my experience with most of the same people that would normally be here 6 months ago, none of them would be armed, or they would be against armed folks. And I've noticed that recently, just in the last couple weeks, and I don't think this should be the case anytime, people are calling for violence, period. People like Tom Arnold are saying, now it's time, we need to grab our dads, bang, bang, and go out there and fight these goons. And that is actually kind of being put up on a pedestal. Again, by celebrities, by people, and again, some will say, well, he's irrelevant. There's actually much bigger stars than him saying the same thing. Rob Reiner's one of the big ones that's always on Twitter and these things. Why, we should be spreading love and positivity. We need a whole lot of it. So we'll fly through some of this. Go ahead, Dex.
Real quick, one more question. Could you feel if it was truly an organic event, or could you feel that it was overly organized? Was there any way for you to discern that from what was going on around you?
No. Well, it seems like there was two different groups. There was the volunteers that seemed like they just kind of were doing it to do it, and to sign up. There was a booth. There's an actual booth that says "Sign up here for Night Watch," which is what they're calling it. It was Post-it notes. So I guess you just put like your name and number on a Post-it note, and then somebody sees the Post-it note. There was also Post-it notes for like this one guy walk up and he goes, I said, "Are you signing up for their sign up?" And he goes, "No, I'm actually, I do CBD oil. So I'm posting it on like this community board." So it was just literally a board with about 16 to 20 Post-it notes. And it was people like advertising like, "Hey, I've got good chronic or something, or I've got CBD, or I do a service of this. I'm a lawyer." It had all sorts of different posts. It was kind of like a community board, right? Right at that same spot where you sign up for Night Watch. I was going to just see what it took to sign up, but there were 3 or 4 people there that never even acknowledged I was there. I don't know if it was the camera, but again, I kept it down, and then they just kept talking and chatting, and there was nobody at the sign-up booth. Nobody was really there to say anything. But to somebody else, they said, "Hey, well, go ahead and do this." Once I walked up, it was like silence. By the way, I actually like, it's kind of funny. I tried to dress, to blend into Seattle. I even wore my Vans. So I should have worn my sandals and socks, but that probably would have been a little bit too far. Either way, it was definitely an interesting thing. You could feel that it was just weird. Every loud noise, a lot of different people were kind of looking around. I mean, it was just, you don't know. And then now with this, the feds might come in and just rip it apart. That's the other thing that might happen. This is exactly what is going on. It says, real-time updates. T-Man threatens to, quote, take back the city if Seattle state officials don't. On Wednesday night, President T-Man tweeted to Governor Jay Inslee and Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin, telling them, take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. And then T-Man was referring to what Seattle protesters are calling the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ. After several days of violent clashes between the police and demonstrators on Capitol Hill, Seattle police reopened the streets so people could march in front of the East Precinct. Instead, protesters have set up tents and have blocked streets. The perimeter stretches from 13th Avenue past 11th Avenue near Cal Anderson Park, and it runs from East Olive Street to East Pike Street. Protesters say CHAZ is a welcome community where there is no leader and a unified message. I couldn't say that. From being there in person, it was definitely 3 or 4 guys that looked like they were in charge. And then a bunch of volunteers. That group they were like instant, like, who are you with? Where are those photos going? That kind of thing. And it was food getting brought in, which is just crazy because I just saw a tweet saying that somebody in their group said, the homeless that we invited in ate all of our supplies. Please donate stuff. They even said, please donate vegan items. We're still hungry. And then, of course, a bunch of groups actually stepped up and donated items to that cause. Some people thought that was funny because they specifically asked for vegan stuff. Seattle's kind of known for that. There's almost live episodes dedicated to that. So again, then they had the reinforcements come in and they were kind of restocking that. They also had like that van, the BLM van that came in and gave everybody food and everything. And it seemed like pretty much anybody could go up to it and get food. So again, if you were just somebody who walked in and didn't know what was going on in any of the world, it would seem almost like a party. And that's, I believe, that's kind of what they were going for. They also said that the guard said that they were keeping it completely peaceful, that nobody would do anything bad because that was some sort of agreement or something that was going on with the mayor. So it sounds like there's some communication there. Like they said, this is your area. As long as you keep it safe, you can keep doing this. So they are actually watching it, making sure, and policing it themselves. That's what they're saying. just communicating what I saw. Again, I try to do the best I can and communicate a neutral and unbiased view of what I actually saw and what was actually happening there. Why is this a big deal? I think, I guarantee you, there's some people that they're like, oh, who cares? This is a huge deal. They're turning it into a sovereign area that they're claiming is not a part of the USA. If this happened on any of a bigger scale, this would be in the civil conflict area of history. So in 100 years, looking back, it would be one of those things that basically is earmarked and a lot of people will do papers on in the future.
Or is this a test, Adam? Is this a test, and from here will we see more? And I think that's probably a bigger thing to think about, right? Like,
might be
if all of a sudden
encouragement.
this happens in 10 cities at a much bigger scale all at once.
And this could be encouragement just for the social media. I saw people nonstop videotaping, doing stuff, and then I found those same people at the gates. So the people doing the social media actually were volunteering as well. So they again, they might be encouraging other cities, and then other cities will see their what they call as a success, moving the police back and out. It's all peaceful. It's a big party. Other cities are going to see that. Other people are going to see the fun atmosphere and that people playing concerts on top of businesses and things like this, and they're going to go, let's do that too. So we'll see in the next few days what ends up happening. But watch, this might be on your doorstep as well. One thing though, I've seen both sides of this. I have family members that completely say, they totally support it. And then I have family members that say that their friends are in the zone and they're terrified and they don't even want to go out for food. I was there. I wasn't there when it was really bad. So I could see when there's tear gas and a bunch of loud noises and things popping off, why you would be terrified, especially if you lived right there all of them have apartments above the businesses and things like that. On the other side, the way it was then, yeah, I could see that people wouldn't care that much. But what if you had a job to go to and then to get out of your own place, which, by the way, every single place had a security guard that had their own paid security guard that was doing perimeter for them. So if somebody needed to get in their garage, a guy would come out, look at their ID, and then let them in, then go back inside. So there was a lot of private security that were just for the apartments. Imagine, though, you had to go to work and you're third late or something in a year and you could get fired, and then you have to wait for somebody to move a car 45 minutes because they're doing the perimeter search or something. I don't know. That's the thing. Even there.
What happens if you get into a fight with your roommate or a person who you're renting with and you need help? Who's coming?
So they say first responders can get through. That was what they said. Actually, no. Kind of was pretty clear. Firemen and first aid could get through. I don't know. They're supposed to police it. They said that they would police it. So if somebody got in a fight, you would, I guess, yell out your window and say, I need help. This guy's beating me up. Basically, how it was put to me is that any kind of violence would not be tolerated in that 3-block zone. And again, it was only 3 blocks. But there's a lot of apartments. There's a lot of people living in that area. And there's a lot of people living right outside of it, which the police won't even go near that either. So if you did end up calling the police, would they end up showing up if there was something serious? I did see ambulances and things like this going past. There was a lot of sirens going on all around, but nothing came in. So what if somebody has a heart attack? Well, they say that they would do priority and let them in. This is pretty... I mean, this is straight out of a movie. It's getting even crazier as we speak. Kihaja Flygirl says the revolution will be live streamed. That's kind of a scary thing to say. Do you remember there's a live streamer that said that right before he had the police raid him and he was on live. Oh my gosh. Etika did that crazy stream where he said that. And he's now... he's passed away. He took his own life or something like that. But he said the revolution will be live streamed. And it's kind of eerie thinking about what's going on right now. CV takes over, the old Millie take over. CV takes over, the old Millie take over. Says Fairy Spirit 2112. Miss Cat, thank you. I appreciate your support. In Washington, Geodude, thank you for the lemon. Gone Girl 777. Dex Cam, LOL. We're actually working on getting Dex in the shoutro too. By the way, he's been brushing up on his guitar skills. So thank you guys for getting us both, pushing us both to be more creative. The One Love, Gone Girl 777, thank you so much. Send Bacon Seeds. Is that? Oh my gosh, I almost fell for that. Solar Doberman, I'm sure they make them though. Foogle Fam, Texas Rob 49, thank you so much. Kelly 2334 says, that's scary, Adam. Greatest Love, thank you for being here and thank you for support. Kelly 2334, again, thank you. People here said Texas can Texit. Be their own government. So Gone Girl, Texas has been the number one that we think would separate. They have their own grid. They have their own gold. They have their own gold foundation there. They have everything. They have their own gold vault. They could actually function without the rest of the United States. So that's why when CalExit, and we actually interviewed the president of the CalExit chapter to see what he was talking about, this was like 2 years ago, and that's why everybody was surprised when they were actually talking about it and trying to push that through, and they're like, California trying to be its own sovereign nation? Everybody thought it would be Texas first. Well, because they've been pushing that for like 5, 10, I don't even know how many years in California as well. They want to separate. But again, that wouldn't happen because they're the number 5 financial institution in the country. Who knows now, though, with CV and everything else. Don't hate the name. Thank you for being here, man. Audrey Visual Arts says, keep up the great work, y'all. Love ya from Texas. We got a lot of people in Texas. That's awesome. Again, Kelly 2334, England Last, Dixie Doe, Luna 3377, and it looks like we've got Kihaja Fly Girl again. Thank you. Good evening, Foogle fam from New York City. How's it doing over there? And then Claire Spence says, no video on D-Live, just audio. Is that true still? It should come back. Make sure to exit out and come back in. Christy Myers, thank you for your support. And Private Eye Ty says, big fan of the channel and your work. I have a channel that does interactive mysteries and fun skits. Something to entertain us during this time. Keep working hard, Adam. Well, Private Eye Ty, I love your name, and I think that's super catchy. I will check you out. And then Mary Lee and Private Eye Ty, thank you for following me on the other platforms. And then Western Body, Marf, wondering about something I saw a few months ago. It looked like an 18-wheeler flat with small metal box in a cage like a sat dish on it. Western Body, I don't know. I would love to see pictures of it. But it might be something in a Faraday cage of some sort. Who knows? Actually, could be a Faraday cage for some sort of comm link. Always question it no matter what has followed. What a cool name. Claire Spence, thank you, Adam, Dex, Mods, and hashtag FamLove. Doc Bill, this can only end very badly. Even civil conflict. White against axe. Uper Viking, you know that on some planet, aliens are laughing at us. Probably, Uper. Or they're on the moon tossing rocks at us. Kevin Tolbert, or tossing Elons at us. Have you noticed that some of the richest, weirdest looking elites look like aliens already? Like, there's definitely Dershowitz, that dude. And then I apologize, but that the rich preacher, the billionaire preacher, that guy, the one that blew away CV, blow away the CV. That guy, I just can't take those kind of he literally, if you've seen some of his stuff, that guy, I don't even know his name, but the guy is just, he's an alien. He looks like a lizard person. In response, Inslee office replied with a short quote, he spelled stopped wrong. Oh my gosh. So I forgot to read the previous part. It says the president tweeted, Radical L Governor Jay Inslee and the mayor of Seattle are being taunted and played at a level that our great country has never seen before. It says, take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Move fast. And actually, it was said it must be stooped. And then it says, in response, Inslee's office, professional office, said, replied with a short, quote, he spelled stopped wrong. Yeah. It kind of makes people human when they make spelling errors. I make spelling errors all the time on Twitter, but again, that is pretty funny. Stooped.
The grammar police is alive and well in the governor's office, huh?
Is anybody being professional now? Like everybody accuses everybody, but I mean, that's not professional either. I don't think that's, why you go to an Ivy League school to correct somebody on that instead of, I mean, that's a political office. I don't get it. Anyways, stock futures flat following 2 days of losses for S&P 500 and Dow. Stock futures opened flat in overnight trading on Wednesday as investors evaluate the pace of the economic recovery. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose just 8 points, and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 futures were also flat. So this is after a ton of just up. And then, of course, now it says the move in futures followed 2 straight days of losses for the 30-stock Dow and S&P 500 as investors ditched reopening trades on the mega-cap tech names. The S&P 500 dipped 0.5% Wednesday, and the Dow slid about 280 points. So a lot of people were buzzing about that in the financial world. Meanwhile, the NASDAQ composite climbed 0.7% to a record high of 10,020.35. Also, its first ever close above 10,000. Is that nuts or what? Like, what is going on with the financials here? Isn't this going to just like completely go just boom and squash us all?
Who knows? At this point, I don't know if it's going to take off in a good way or if it's going to take off in a bad way, but it feels like it's going to take off something because it's been going, it's uncharted territory. It's been going nuts in both directions.
I mean, this is just some really crazy stuff here. The NASDAQ has risen for 8 straight days in the past 9 sessions, bringing its 2020 gains to nearly 10%. What if people, this whole thing, think about all the people that dumped certain stocks and then grabbed everything else. They dumped all their stocks, made it public. Somehow we found out that because of CV that all those congressmen got rid of their stocks. That got out. At least 4 of them went to a confidential meeting, which you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to sell your stocks after going to a top secret meeting and finding out how bad it truly is and that the whole country is going to find out in about 2 weeks. Click, sell, boom. They technically, legally didn't do anything wrong, but I think they did on the other end, like they're part of their office and how they're not supposed to do that. And I think they might get some sort of punishment or they might be investigating it. Either way, they did that. And then, of course, that got out. Everybody knew about it. So then the stock market just went, choo. So then what happens? If you know it's going to go back up, you can buy stocks at almost nothing and then just skyrocket. And then it's doubling and then you got billions of dollars. And then the 1% is the 0.001%. Sorry, that was, we'll just leave that be. Either way, let's see here. Going to bring up another thing. First, if you guys have not joined our Discord, this is how we are organizing. Again, this is important. Find your local state group. We have 50 state groups. It is broken up into different zones. You can meet with people local that think just like you. It is run by the people of the groups. Again, this is something that is awesome for prep. If you just want to meet up and talk about the issues, if you want to meet up and go and protest, do whatever, that is what these are for. Also to know people that aren't going to call you crazy, because everybody's saying you're crazy for essentially asking questions. And that is really what the world is doing right now. If you ask a question or go against anything, you're out or you're crazy. Here, I try to make sure that we push a positive, just overall acceptance of other people's opinions and don't get triggered by it. When we're getting triggered, and that includes both sides getting triggered by each other, we have to try to put the brakes on that. I mean, just as bad as this side saying this side, it's this side saying that side. It's both ways. We need some conversation here. We need communication, and we need some adults, really. We're running out of adults. There might be a lot of people over the age of 21, but we're running out of adults. There is an exclusive military channel as well for former and current military. And then, of course, all of that is at marfooglenews.com along with our alerts. If you sign up for our alerts, you will end up getting an alert. If we find out anything that is absolutely going to happen, we will let you know through that. That is marfooglenews.com. Don't be left out. Make sure to sign up for Marfoogle alerts. All right, and then up next, we have 2 South Carolina National Guardsmen found glass baked into pizza they ordered while on D.C. deployment. So somebody actually put glass in a National Guard's food. Is that attempted something? I mean, it sounds like they were trying to get his insides cut up. Or her insides. I don't know if it's a man or woman. It says the soldiers were staying at the Marriott Marquis Hotel during their mission to the nation's capital when they decided to order a pizza from a nearby establishment using Uber Eats, according to the Department of Defense report shared with the Post and the Courier. When they opened the pizza, they found shards of glass baked into the dough and cheese. They didn't eat the pizza, and no one was injured. According to the report, no other guardsmen had experienced a similar problem. Wow. Like, does anybody know what happens when a grown person, eats glass? It can possibly kill you. So that should be a charge, but maybe they're just not booking right now for that kind of stuff. How would you do it?
Except for the guy at the sideshow. He can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think everybody has that trained talent. Or is that a magic trick? I don't know. I don't know the secret to that. I've seen some guys do it. Is it safety glass? Do you have to take intestinal rescue beforehand? Do you have to eat a lot of tortillas before? I don't know. What is the deal with that? Either way, I don't think that everybody can handle it, and I think that could have taken a life. So they should probably get that pizza place's cameras and arrest somebody if it was on purpose. And then, of course, U.S. Army unit was issued bayonets to prep for D.C. protest duty. Bayonets? Snap. It says a historic Army unit located just outside Washington was issued bayonets in scabbards as well as live ammunition in case active duty troops were deployed in the U.S. Capitol last week, according to a letter from Pentagon leaders. It says, quote, at no point were any weapons loaded or made ready, but in preparation for a potential operations in an increased readiness posture, the old guard commander directed the issues of bayonets in scabbards and limited amounts of ammunition to be maintained in pouches, according to a June 10th letter by Secretary Mark Esper and General Mark Milley, who has now come against the president as well. It said some pretty definitely opinionated stuff here. So we'll probably end up talking about that later. Look at this. This looks like a Ninja Turtle costume put together by a 6-year-old. That's not the cop side, is it? That is the cop side. Look at this. This looks like out of the third Ninja Turtles movie. Straight up. And he's walking with some swag. Then these guys are going behind, even crouched down even further. What is this shield thing, though? That's like they took it straight out of Gladiator. Never seen such a small, round shield. Where is Splinter when you need him? Oh, wait, there he is. Oh, snap. He's right there. Our country is just going nuts. This guy looks like he's literally sweeping up. Like, oh, sorry, you broke somebody's head. Well, gotta sweep that up. Oh, too bad. Okay, so on top of, you guys saw what I said on Lego on Twitter. Obviously, I'm a Lego fan. I've got plenty of Lego behind me. I collect the kind of the model stuff, and then I do it with all of my daughters. They got involved and ended up totally, and this is the problem. So if you're on the side of, just getting fully behind all of this, right? Lego only pulled their promotion for advertisements on police sets in the United States. They didn't pull it worldwide. They just took the promotions, and then everybody thought, oh, they're not going to sell police sets, right? How many of you guys had Lego sets like, city police when you were a kid? How many of you guys, when you were in kindergarten, told your mom, I want to be a police officer when I grew up? How many of you had police officers come to your school and they had a weapon and they looked like a superhero, and that was one of, and they did surveys up until a few years back, that was one of the lead things all school children wanted to be. Among astronaut and firemen, I mean, it was the stereotypical go-to, like, I want to be a police officer. You play cops and robbers when you were a kid. The cops were the good guys. The robbers were the bad guys. It's been throughout history. There's always, if it wasn't cops, it was before that, it was the sheriff or this or that. And they were always the hero. One thing that does bother me about this whole situation is I don't understand. I would love somebody who is incredibly intelligent on the side of just completely get rid of all of them. What happens to all of the hero police? It's like during the September 11 issues there, the entire country got together. We're all, sporting that flag. Everybody was in unity. It was quite a year. It was like everybody was, people were just nice to each other up until when that turned into something. That turned into a, one of these color things as well. But they were revered as heroes, police and firemen. Now, 19 years later, you see it flip-flop completely. And now, here's my thing. Okay. Why are you not getting rid of the people that think like this rather than the careers that may have these people? In every career, I bet there's these people. I bet that there's doctors that do not treat people they do not think have insurance, or they're not going to get the full amount of. I've been treated that way. If you don't have insurance and go to the hospital, or if you're poor, I've had many times. It's like they straight up ask you first off, do you have insurance? They mark you from the second you walk in there, and you feel like you're not getting the same treatment. Literally had the same issues as other people. They go in with insurance. They've got them doing MRIs, this, that. How can we do you? Let's put you up in a room. Let's get you some food. If you don't, they want you in and out in about an hour because they know that they're never going to get paid for it. So, again, this happens everywhere. The one thing I don't get is how did we forget about the good people that literally risk their lives to save people? That's all I'm saying. What happened to those? What happens to them now? And how do you think if they're walking, that hero, who's somebody who may have saved 6 children from trafficking or something else, or saved 4 people in his entire career that literally he's looked at as the ultimate hero. He's been in the newspaper 6 times. When he walks down the street, people look at him just the same way as the guy who is a vicious, just absolute racial guy. I just think I don't see. I would love for somebody from that side to say, what are you guys doing about that? Do a debate. Talk about what happens to this. What happens to them? Are all of them bad? Is all of this? And I bet you're going to get kind of the same thing turning around and around. So, I just think it's crazy, and now we're literally seeing history disappear. HBO Max removes Civil War epic Gone with the Wind. If you know anything about cinema, this is one of the all-time classics. And something about it has now put it into a really bad place. It says the Civil War epic, considered a classic of American cinema, has been pulled from HBO Max. The move comes as media companies reappraise content in light of nationwide protests over police brutality and systemic racism after the death of GF, a black man called by Minnesota police. Earlier on Tuesday, Paramount Network canceled the long-running police reality show Cops. So I wonder, and you know what's funny is a month ago, Live PD was the #1 show in America. Everybody was watching it, especially during all of this, and then when it went, they reduced it a little bit, but it was literally the favorite show of millions and millions of people. People would pay out of the country to watch Live PD. They were getting it through satellite any way possible. They just ate it up. 12 live divisions. You're watching the department live. You're watching your neighbor, get busted in. It was like Cops on steroids because they were actually live, at the point. Now, what's going to happen to that? I just don't see how so many people that never talked about these issues just 2 months ago are now all of a sudden completely about them. We need change all the way back. Like all the way back, up to the very top level, and we need to do it in a really civil and loving manner. And I think there's a lot of people not feeling the love here. So this video you might have seen. This was live news. So this was covered on, I believe it was the Hannity show, and this was a live feed where they're actually pulling down these guys. But here's the bad part. So it doesn't show anything bad. Right now so it doesn't show anything bad here, but there's many angles, and you guys, we're gonna link this and others. There's a gentleman standing below. So all of these guys are pulling down the statue. Dex, do you remember which one this was? Because a lot of statues have gone down in the last couple of days. Thomas Jefferson.
No, I don't remember exactly which statue, but I do know that this one it's in Portsmouth, Virginia, and they had asked for it to be pulled down, and I think the city council had said they were going to decide later, and they had maybe taken some down, and they just decided they weren't necessarily going to do this one right now. They were going to talk. Well,
they said they were going to move it. They were going to move it for public safety. And what is even crazier is there's when you look up this thing, you see all these quotes and tweets of people saying, "Well, I hope if they do take it down, it falls on somebody." That's exactly what happened. So a lot of people were tweeting. I literally saw at least 20 accounts saying sorry for the previous tweet, because what ended up happening was it did end up falling on somebody. Oh, so let's mute that because that's some sort of news. And then again, this falls. There's a guy pointing, and then boom, he's just disappeared. So you guys can watch the rest. There's a lot of different angles, and apparently you can see their reactions here. All of a sudden, they go, "Oh my gosh!" Then they tell them, "Hey, spread out, spread out." Everybody says take a knee because they're trying to let the people get through. But his entire head was essentially crushed. They say he is still alive and in a coma. But this may be, again, he had 2 children. So I would like to pray for him. I'm going to pray for him regardless of what he was doing, where he was. He's a human being, and I'm going to pray for him to get better. And hopefully he comes out of that coma to take care of those kids. He was not actually one of the people pulling. He was pointing and looking over here. and then boom. So you can kind of boom. So in the other videos, it shows a lot more. This just shows the reactions. So again, you guys can check that out somewhere else.
When I analyzed it, it looked like he was telling the guy who was moving the ladder to bring it back for the guy that was climbing down. That's what he was pointing at.
Yeah.
And they pulled it down, and I don't think they were ready for it to come down, but yeah, it came down right on top of his head.
And the thing is it was incredibly heavy. On top of that, tons of statues are at least being defaced, but others are being torn down all over the country and actually in the world. So there's a lot of places in the world where they're tearing these down, and it's all historical figures. So some of these I can understand why people want that. Again, there's some figures that I get, but one thing that I heard is that people are trying to literally change history books. You can't change history. That's we have to have that. Otherwise, you can't move forward without knowing, what happened before. It says statues of Christopher Columbus were targeted by protesters in Massachusetts. This is the Hill, by the way, and Virginia on Tuesday night in an act of solidarity. That's a good word for it. Solidarity with indigenous peoples. It says the 8-foot memorial to the explorer in Richmond, Vancouver. Richmond, VA, was pulled down with ropes and dragged roughly 200 yards to a nearby landing at Foundation Lake, according to the Richmond Times-Dispatch. It was also reportedly briefly lit on fire. Then they covered it in graffiti, all sorts of other things. This land is Powhatan land, and what is this? Columbus represents genocide. So that's happening all over the world now. The London, Jem, I think, Jem, you're in London. You said that things were kicking off there as well. You've got other countries doing it. What's funny is I think it was it was parts of Europe that were actually kind of behind the other side of it here. I thought that was kind of crazy. Daisy Cousins just did a guest appearance the other day that was really, really good. Look up Daisy Cousins, and it's like a world BBC type channel. Dr. Fauci calls CV his worst nightmare and says this demic is far from over. So again, we've covered the news here, and sorry about that. We've covered the news here that they say the worst is actually still to come, and that because all of this, that now they've seen the single biggest hike in it. So are we talking another year and a half, a year, 2 years of social distancing and everything else that goes along with this? Are we talking about another lockdown? Are they talking about once they open up the malls, they close down the malls? You walk and get a drink at the bar for 2 days. They're like, hey, let's give them a couple days to get drunk and then lock it all back down. That's what it looks like it's going to be. It's not good. Not good at all. You guys can watch this video. It says President T-Man's infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, issued a grim assessment of the CV Tuesday, calling the ongoing his worst nightmare, and insisting the fight against the spread was far from over. And remember, he predicted back in 2017 this. So all the way in 2017, he knew about the surprise outbreak. He predicted it. He was very, very good about the surprise outbreak that happened. So luckily, he was totally right on with, he even said the next presidential candidate will have a surprise outbreak. Just right on time. So he's really good at predictions. That's what's kind of scary is, he's got such a background and he's so educated. He knew it was going to happen, during this actual campaign or during this section of president. So thought that was pretty interesting, if you ask me. Thank you, Dex. That lets us know we are already at an hour, so I'm going to fly through the rest of these, and then we're going to get into the calls. It says the bleak admission from Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, comes as states across the U.S. continue with their gradual reopening efforts amid widespread protests over the of G. Floyd. It says in a period of 4 months, it has devastated the whole world, Fauci, and said that CV19 during a virtual appearance at a biotechnology innovation organization conference, and it isn't over yet. So basically telling us that this is, it's coming back. And then you've got Italian doctors saying that its potency has gone down, but maybe it's going to mutate, or that's what we might find out. Who knows? As of Tuesday, confirmed CV cases in the U.S. have topped 2 million. That's right, 2 million flu shots. Absolutely suffocating hot temperature complicate the CV face mask safety. Again, it was crazy. They told us we should wear one, we shouldn't wear one, we shouldn't. Now don't. It's complications, this and that. And then they'll say, oh, well, we should have. Now it's coming back and it's worse than ever. Lockdown again. When the sun does its impression of an easy bake oven, the only thing you can do is look for some shade. That's exactly what Patricia Granberg was doing under a shelter at the Ross Township Park in midday Tuesday. Quote, I'm dealing with it the best way I know how. Plenty of fluids and stuff like that, she said. But add the CV-19 precaution of having to wear a mask, and Yvette says it's like suffocating. Absolutely suffocating. Ugh. Like that kind of thing. Christina Micah agrees it definitely limits activity, and that's why I think you see so many people with them just on the mouth, she said. Of course, without the nose. I see a lot of employees doing it, and I'm like, what's even the point? Ross Brooks, who is sporting a red bandana, said it's a little sweaty, but it's worth it not spreading the CV. Yep. So it says Dr. Brian Lamb, who practices internal medicine at AHN, says there are times when you can take it off. I'm going to let you guys go over this and let you do that, so we're not responsible for any of that. And then again, we don't want to go telling you wrong advice, but you can go ahead and look this up on our website, marfooglenews.com. If you guys want to support us in a different way, we, of course, do earthing. If you've never grounded, this is something I actually do. These are mats or different products. You can actually get many. I mainly use the mats. You put it underneath your sheets. It doesn't feel like anything's there. It actually feels cool. This helps with inflammation. Inflammation is actually the root cause of a million different factors. Again, if this can help decrease that, then it, in theory, reduces a lot of things. In fact, they have 25 medical studies that back this up. People have been doing this for as long as I've been alive and before. You have people in our audience that will tell you how awesome these are. Again, all you have to do is ask somebody right next to you how they are, and they'll tell you what it does. We are electricity, our hearts, our brains, our central nervous system. Nobody thinks about this. We are literally electrical signals, almost our entire body. So if you're not grounded, which none of us have, it's funny that we wear rubber sole shoes to not be connected with Earth, when just like a appliance, when we're grounded, it runs a lot smoother, and it's pretty weird to think about. And you can actually measure it. They can have somebody standing barefoot on Earth and somebody with rubber soles, and the person barefoot will be grounded, and that person with rubber soles will not. But what's even crazier is the person on rubber soles grabs on to that grounded person, and then they are grounded. How weird is that? That's electrical connection between human beings. Static electricity, whatever you want to call it. It's crazy, the whole thing. Go to marfooglenews.com/earthing if you'd like to support our channel. A small commission of this goes to us, and you get a better price than normal. So it doesn't cost you anything extra. And then, of course, it supports us as well. All right, and then U.S. jets intercept Russian nuclear-capable bomber off of Alaska, NORAD says, which, remember, all of our guys are up in the mountains. They're all the way up in NORAD in Cheyenne Mountain because of CV. So all of the military leaders and the continuity of government is totally running in the background, but nothing is happening. We're all good. And they say U.S. fighters jets intercepted Russian boomers twice on Wednesday off the coast of Alaska, the North American Aerospace Defense Command on Wednesday. The intercepts come less than 2 weeks after the U.S. boomers were met by Russian jets over the Black Sea. Some could say that this happens on a weekly basis. It does, but I think it's actually getting hotter by what is going on in our military group and what is being said. I believe a lot of people are taking advantage of the current situation there. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I actually saw a flash. That was weird. Again, we've had tons of lightning lately. Last show, by the way, I want to say sorry about that, but it was not our fault. Last show, we had so many issues with both YouTube, DLive, Restream, everything. Twitter went out, all of it. And I think something is going on for just the entire network. Dex, you did confirm that not just Restream and all of that had issues, wasn't it? It was
yeah, I saw some reports where people were saying it was a backbone issue across the internet, and it was affecting some 12,000 plus sites that were included, not just Restream but Netflix and others. They were having intermittent issues, so which is what we would see, like the stream would drop and network would drop and then it would come back.
Well, even our direct connection through the internet. So it was multiple things going on at once. So thank you guys. Whenever it cuts into separate things, people get mad, people leave, people even unsubscribe. I just talking about Brian from High Impact Flicks. I watched about a year and a half, 2 years ago, or however long. It was long ago. I watched one of his streams where it got cut into 8 shows. So then he ended up having to do an edited video afterwards, basically apologizing and saying, hey guys, this isn't me, apologize. But so many people, and he's like, so many people left and unsubscribed because of it. And it's unfortunate, but it is the most irritating thing in the world. So people actually leave. Even though it's not your fault, it's kind of one of those things where it's like styrofoam, rubbing styrofoam together. I won't torch you with it. I do have some on the side if you guys unsubscribe right now, and I will rub it together. But that's only if you unsubscribe. I just saw one. You guys are in trouble. A T-man supporting QAnon conspiracist has a strong chance of winning a congressional seat in Georgia. A T-man supporting QAnon conspiracy winning a congressional seat in Georgia. That's... wow. And her ad has her with a rifle there. Save America, stop socialism for Congress. I wondered in some of the smaller places or in some of the where there's less competition, gosh, how do you get into politics? I mean, at a certain point, if you're in the right place, you could literally get into there if you have the power of the people, if you've got the people behind you, if you actually have the people vote you in. There's been a couple kind of odd ones over the years. Marjorie Greene, I'll have to look into this. I've not seen her, but apparently she is a WWG, WWA type of gal, and she might just take the Georgia's 14th congressional district GOP primary on Tuesday. So we'll check back on that. Again, we got to fly through and get to the calls. We have to get off by 2 hours now because it's taking a new change on YouTube is that they're taking 6, 7, 8 hours to process our stuff. If we do it under 2, usually we can get by with less there. So I'm going to go over to the chat here. Multiple U.S. agencies have purchased this mysterious mobile eavesdropping device. Dex, will you explain that while I load up the chat? The mysterious mobile eavesdropping device. And I believe this is this a name that they use on, ISMI catchers. We talked about this with the backwards or upstream surveillance, like the November 3rd alert that we got.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. Very little is known about the crossbow device as other than it integrates with the Stingray ISMI catcher, which is the Stingray. If I remember correctly, isn't that the one that sort of picks up the data like a cell phone tower? But anyway, it's used to trace location data and listen in on phone calls. So these things, like, they act like cell towers so that your cell phone connects to it. And then it passes the traffic through, but then they're able to intercept all the traffic. So, but the procurement documents show that the U.S. Marshals placed an order with Harris for crossbow devices worth $1.7 million, while the U.S. Army and Navy made similar purchases worth $380,000. So mobile surveillance, it's obviously still spending there.
So obviously it's something that, the money trail is letting us know about. And why are they getting so many? As far as the IMSI catcher, so the alert that everybody said, people called it the presidential alert, but really it was actually FEMA. Just so you guys know that, like, T-Man was in the beginning of his presidency, October 3rd, and I told people, turn off your phone, or I suggested. I said, I highly suggest you turn off your phone for this, possibly even put it in a Faraday bag if you have one, put it somewhere, take the battery out, whatever. And that was because I said this before anybody else. Military, somebody in our military group let me know, and somebody who I trust 100%, if they told me to get out of my house with my shoes and my shirt on my back, I would. They told me that it was upstream surveillance. It was essentially something that, say this is an alert. It goes beep, beep. What do you have to do to turn one of these alerts off? You have to look at it, and you have to press OK. And no matter what, it can't be overridden. If it's on and you get it, you press OK, well, guess what can happen? The front and the back camera can take a picture of your location. It can ping wherever you are. It can also take a picture of your face. So say if they don't have your fingerprints, you're, say, somebody who's just new to the country or something else, or if you have a burner phone, it hit almost every one of those as well. So if you're trying to stay off the grid or out of everything else, they could get your picture. They could get your fingerprint in some cases, because a lot of the newer thumbprint ones made you press it to. Now they're trying to do that, where you have to use your fingerprint to turn off ambers, emergency EASs. Think about that. So you have to look at it. Well, and most people, you could do it like this, but most people don't know what it says and don't know where the OK button is, and then unless they're going like this. Click. And they go, well, they wouldn't take a picture without you knowing it. They just got caught. Facebook just got caught too. Did you see the glitch last year we covered where the guy accidentally saw it and it was running his back and front camera the whole time? Everybody was like, why is my battery not lasting as long as it should? There's a lot of reasons, guys. But either way, that was upstream surveillance, and the ISMI catchers, everything else that's going on, this has been going on in police departments, has been going on all over the place. FBI, they essentially grab your cell phone signal before it goes to the tower and then triangulate, and they can do all sorts of stuff with it. So again, you see it get followed by the trail, and the trail always leads back. You see it all the time. Claire Bear, a.k.a. CFS69, says, lifelong Texan here. We'd love to secede, says Claire Bear. Gone 777, what is going on? Gone Girl, thank you so much tonight for your epic support. Susan Donahue, many thanks and much love. We are #Team Humanity. Susan Donahue, thank you. Absolute VIP, thank you so much for your support and your continued support. Substance Point says, a bayonet is a musket. Hot musket mission. That is a crazy point there, Substance Point. I got so much crap for that, and again, that was a caller. That story went all the way to the Pentagon. A little story on my show that people said, oh, it was fake and all this, actually got addressed directly by the Pentagon spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Baldanza. You know, because the Pentagon directly responds to all sorts of fake stuff, right? On little tiny channels that had like 30,000 subscribers. Because they really want to address all the theorists, right? Sure. Kara Miller, sorry I hung up. Dex, I panicked. So Kara Miller apparently hung up on you. Dallas Bathtub Refinishing says, remember when LaFoy Finicum took over the national park? The news called it a standoff. They denounced violence, still got banged. Western Body says, what is what I was thinking too, or that is what I was thinking too. The creepy part is my cell crashed when I tried to take a picture. Isn't that weird? Because it was probably using it at the same time. 43 minutes ago. Again, I think that was cleared up. I don't know. Christy Myers, thank you. And then Claire Spence, thank you again for letting us know that. M. Menching, hi Marv and Dex, been at the ranch. Jaybird, Angela 1609, Stiletti, Scopopalips, and boo. I don't know what that sound was. The boo. That was for Moxie Lady. Thank you for the Ninja Guinea. Thanks for giving us an In the Trenches view. Stay safe, XOXO. Well, thank you. Thank you for your over-the-top support. M. Menching and Moxie Ladies. Zenato 19, Texas has EMP shield. We all good. So that's, of course, talking about our partner EMP Shield actually is on the official DEMSO team protecting the Texas grid. They've got some badass protection there. And Watchmaker 88, thank you for being here. And thank you. I haven't seen you before here, so thank you for the lemon. And then Nate 5456, I haven't seen you here as well, and it looks like you just followed. Resemble Media, thank you for following. Lisa Curry 42, thank you for all you do. Love everyone. Praying and loving for everyone. It was a lot of sites affected, says Gone Girl 77. Of course, talking about the internet downage yesterday. Teresa TLC and T. Bori Mousy Maui Racing Realtor, and Groovy Grandma. Thank you guys all for supporting there. All right, and then Prepper Puka, Catworm Anna, thank you guys. All right, so we're going to get through to... Okay, so we actually got a couple tweets here. And then U.S. Air Force investigates hypersonic test mishap. Dex, can you explain this real quick? If you're not on the phone with Kara there. So this is... Let's see here. Love this.
Hey, Adam, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Air Force mishap.
Yeah, there was this mishap, and I guess we didn't know about it. But apparently, there was like a scramjet type of missile that was attached to a plane, and I guess it fell off. It had some sort of malfunction where it came off. And I think the test, if I remember correctly, the test was really a test flight of the attachment of this and how this was attached.
Didn't they say white phosphorus? Something like this happened last year with white phosphorus on accident. I'm starting to think, like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and this is all with DARPA, and it's coming out of I think it's the station out in California, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this was a kind of interesting article here on it.
So, the missile is believed to have inadvertently separated from a B-52 carrier aircraft during a captive carry flight test. According to sources familiar with the evaluation, the cause of the mishap, which is thought to have involved an aircraft from the 419th Flight Test Squadron at Edwards Air Force Base, California, is under investigation. It says the Air Force referred questions about the incident to DARPA, big bad DARPAs, but the agency declined to provide any details. Quote, details of those flight demonstrations are classified. So this actually does remind me, and I don't know if you guys have watched the show for a while, you'll know I covered that there was an incident with like the white phosphorus as well. So, which is extremely, I think it's even banned or something. I think what the big deal was there that not was the mishap, the fact that it was the mishap of something that we shouldn't have even been using or something. If you guys remember, let me know. Some of you guys know my shows better than myself. Anyways, this is a very interesting read. Again, on marfooglenews.com, you can find all of the articles. Again, if you if you're stuck at home or if your state is still locked down and you are actually using Amazon for a lot of stuff, remember, you can actually support the show and not spend anything extra. In fact, you'll get the same prices you get on Amazon, only we will get a slight commission which will help the show. So you can always find our Amazon link right on every show's panel on the right, along with any product that you might want to support. Which, speaking of which, if you guys want to support us in a different way, NordVPN. Obviously, protecting yourself is key, especially online right now. Cyber hackers have literally had a heyday with the internet since people are spending all of their time on it. So again, marfooglenews.com/VPN. A virtual private network actually protects you from the bad guys. It hides your IP so people can't just go in there. If you've fought hard to build up your credit score, don't let somebody snatch it away. It actually works up onto 6 devices for one plan. You can get up to 70% off or more on their best plans if you use the code Marfoogle. Again, marfooglenews.com/VPN. Use the code Marfoogle, MARFOOGLE. Okay, we're going to get the phones open. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. Over here at Marfoogle, we're actually closing in on 17,000 followers. So thank you guys so much. We might actually hit it in the next day or two. So thank you guys. Again, here is where I share some of more of my opinionated stuff and all of our links. If you miss it or if you don't have the push notifications that we actually have, make sure to go on there as well. If you don't want the push notifications, you can just follow me on Twitter. And just to remind you, this is how you do the push notifications if it will load. Oh, no, that is not. We'll talk about that end up later. This is a probably important time, though. Dex, if you want to pull in our first caller, let's get it rolling and rocking. Wait,
Adam, go ahead.
Just real quick. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone who helps with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that being said, Dex, go ahead.
Thank you, Adam. Great message there. Hey, really excited with the first caller here. We have Almost Homestead. Homestead, you are live on Marfoogle TV.
What is going on?
Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Is this Jay?
Hey.
Is Jay your name?
I might have a little delay. Yeah.
Well,
and
what is
there
going
might be
on?
a little delay. I'm up in the mountains.
Well, what is going on? Feel free to say hi. So we love mobbed you a couple days ago. But
yeah,
you can go ahead and tell your side of that.
I
That's
wanted
kind of
to
funny.
thank everybody. I really want to thank you guys for that. That was awesome. That was cool that you met up with my son. I was sitting here watching the show, and then he messaged me, and so it was pretty cool.
So what happened is I was in a Safeway, and I was at the check counter, and a very nice young gentleman comes up and says, "Hey, are you Adam?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "My dad's a big fan of you, or my stepdad's a big fan of yours, and he's watching you right now." And then he said that you were actually watching the replay of the show. And he said, "Yeah, he said, you got to check out his channel." So I ended up looking at your channel, and you actually put a lot of work into your videos. And you are actually running kind of, are you fully off grid, or do you say almost because it is almost kind of because it looks like you collect water, you've got chickens, you've got everything there. So you're kind of ready.
Yeah, we're not off grid. We do have power, but I do get my water from the river into a holding tank. And then the almost homestead part, the idea was it's not really homesteading, it's kind of the modern day homestead thing. And we're homesteading on 4 small properties here that are all kind of disconnected. So it's kind of like this little almost homestead thing is the idea.
Well, it was just really cool to end up finding you through in that way. And it was just weird timing and everything. The fact that you were watching the show as he was there, and the fact that he only saw it once, but recognized me because apparently maybe he's seen you watch it multiple times, or maybe he's just kind of been there. But he said he was just turned on to the show as well. So the fact that you are actually telling other people about it and just things like that, that's what's really cool about it, is the Foogle family kind of helps each other. You've got a channel there. You're almost going to hit 5,000 hopefully here soon.
Yeah, you guys, the whole Foogle fam, that was really awesome. They kicked up the subscriber count for sure, and everybody showed a lot of love with the comments, so I really appreciate that. That was just really a cool surprise.
Yeah,
so, basically, I was going to just do a short
the bar on
call
there
tonight. I saw a video today by a guy named Urban Farmer. Curtis Stone is the channel, Urban Farmer Curtis Stone, and he did a interview with Ice Age Farmer.
Oh, yeah.
And am I still there? Okay.
No, you're here.
So in this video, he was just talking about how NASA had predicted that the next solar cycle will be lowest in 200 years. And it kind of matches what was called the Dalton minimum, which I think was back in like the 1700s or something like that. But back then when this happened, basically nothing grew. You had like almost every day you had frost on the ground. So they were just kind of stressing the importance of people to prepare and grow your own food. You know, you can grow stuff inside, also lettuce, microgreens, whatever, but just really to be prepared is the message. And especially with everything going on right now, you've got meat packing plants and farms that can't operate because they don't have the people to do it due to the situation. So it's like this big old perfect storm brewing to create a food shortage like we've never seen before. So just thought I'd bring up that video and this NASA article.
Now, is that
just to kind of give the Foogle fam a heads up?
Yep, and I will actually load that now. Hold on one second. And I will actually load that up right now. Hold on one sec. And is that why you're kind of doing what you're doing? Is because you kind of see something ahead coming that a lot of people aren't seeing?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, I just felt this overwhelming feeling that I needed to get my wife and I felt like I needed to be on the other side of the mountains, but we're kind of right at Stevens Pass on the west side of that, but we're in the mountains and we have you saw we got a river and stuff here, so we're set up pretty good. But I just felt this overwhelming feeling that I had to get out of the suburbs and the city, like something was coming and it wasn't going to be good. And so now that's kind of all coming to light, and it's like, wow, I kind of feel like I made a good decision. It was hard on my wife. I pretty much forced her to make this move. We sold our house. We moved into our cabin, and so it was a tough thing for my wife to swallow, but now she's on board and she's happy, and we're learning more about homesteading and just being self-sufficient.
Well, and it's a lot nicer to just kind of be away from the city and fresher air and everything else. I kind of understand where you're at as well with that. Oddly enough, and I don't normally have dreams, and I've been talking about this, and I don't normally, nobody wants to. A lot of people, 99% of people, they don't want to hear about your dreams. To be honest, like people just being honest, don't want to hear about it. But just today, I woke up at 7 a.m. very early, and then I ended up being super tired. We've got a 9-month-old daughter, and she's just been waking up in the middle of the night. So I ended up going to sleep for about an hour and a half from like 9 to 10:30 my time. And I had one of the most, and I normally don't remember entire dreams, but I had a dream that we were in a place which reminded me of Seaside, Oregon, where we're at a T where the water's right in front of us, kind of like any like lakeside town. And the rocks are there, and there was a gentleman on a kayak. Well, all of a sudden, we saw this huge, like, from what it looks like, a 12-foot wave kind of push him over, and like, oh my gosh, that guy's going to be pulled over. And then all of a sudden, we're in our big truck, old truck, and the wave is all of a sudden next to us, and it's about the level of where our window is. But then all of a sudden, it raises real quick, and it's in. And I remember in my dream, I've got my 9-month-old baby in the... because of the truck, we've got her in the front seat facing backwards, and like I'm telling my wife to grab our daughter, and then she's already got her, and then all of a sudden we're both cuddled up together. Then we actually get pushed in our truck, and it's something out of a movie where our entire truck is, we can't control it. We're turning the wheel. The whole truck goes over, and it's like we're going over a dock, and all these kids and people are underneath us, and we're just mowing them down because we can't control the truck going, right? And then we get to this place, it stops, and there's another wave coming, and we can see off in the distance, it's like 100-foot wave. So then we go up, and it's like this weird hillside resort thing where we're constantly climbing up stairs, and we're trying to go up to these hillside businesses. And it reminded me of something like out of Italy. And we keep going, and the water keeps coming and keeps getting up to the windows. And I'm seeing the power go out and twitch. It was so realistic. And the scariest thing is, in about a month, one of our family members actually invited us to an oceanside thing to go for a couple days for their 50th anniversary. I said, it's weird, just weird timing. And I think that we are connected on some level. People can call me nuts, or people can call me frou-frou, but that dream, out of all the dreams I've had, some weird stuff. Just like you said, you just felt like something was going to go down, and it was enough to make you move. It's made me move 3 times. I know. I've heard it from the horse's mouth. They thought that this thing was going to happen 2 or 3 years ago.
I think I've had some dreams like that where they're completely like just more real than a dream would normally feel, and it has happened. And so you got to trust your gut too, I think. And
it's just everything about it.
Crazy.
Well, Almost Homestead, or Jay, aka Homestead, Almost Homestead. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you, and hopefully a lot more people will head over to your channel. Again, that's Almost Homestead. I'm sure my mods are putting your link in the chat right now. Probably Jay Stone or WV or any one of those guys are doing it right now. So thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
Yeah, it was good talking to you, and thanks a lot again to the Foogle fam. You guys are awesome, and Almost Homestead out.
All right, and then, by the way, your article and your website will be on our website by the end. The NASA predicts next solar cycle will be lowest in 200 years, Dalton minimum levels. This article will be available on marfooglenews.com. Thank you so much, man. Have a great night. All right, and then let's see here. We have Snafu Snaps is up next. If you guys want to call in, we have one spot on the back end. The number to call, if you've never called in before, 2244-00-MARF. It's going to be scrolling down underneath me. Snafu Snaps, what is going on? You are live on Marfoogle News.
How's it going, Adam and Foogle fam?
Sorry, I just blasted you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I blasted you a little bit too loud. So now you're good.
Oh. How are you guys doing, man? How's the Foogle fam, and how are you doing tonight, Adam?
It is good. So let's see here. It says you're talking about the new 2020 coin and bats. Oh, that is pretty weird. So go ahead.
So, with currency, we see subliminal messages all the time. So some of you may know the $20 bill one. Some of you may know the $100 bill one. Well, this is something that has been brought to a lot of people's attention because of the CV optics and the quarantine optics. I just wanted to point out that the new 2020 quarter is a bat. And I just thought, the messaging is there. The optics are always there. And I find it very, very interesting that the new 2020 quarter is the bat, because if you know the narrative of how a lot of this started, you obviously know the bat was a big thing involved.
Well, and I'm trying to look at what else it could possibly be, too. It almost looks like the 2 heads. It almost looks like an 8 symbol, like an infinity symbol or something like that. There's always other little stuff that people try to find later on.
Right.
It's just weird. That is it. When I first saw this, it creeped me out.
Yeah, and what I don't, I haven't really been able to truly break the quarter down. But like I said, for those of you who know about the $20 bill currency subliminal messages and the $100 bill subliminal messages, I encourage you to go look them up, because this is messaging. I mean, we see the messaging in the movies, the music videos, just like you have pointed out, and just almost everything, just messaging is there. And I thought it was so ironic how and actually the $100 bill one, when you change the colors, it shows something hitting water and something taking over a city. Okay, water hitting a city. The $20 bill shows the whole story of back in that September day. And which is scary, because the $20 bill is something that had happened, and the whole fold is the complete story. The $100 bill one has not happened yet, but if it happened on the $20 bill, it sure as heck makes you wonder, and how realistic that $100 optics are. And then I just thought it was funny because, the quarantine and getting us not to assemble, at first it was the CV, but then now all of a sudden these riots and things going on. But I thought it was so interesting that 2020, during the most historic and prophetic times that we're in, and crazy optics, that it's a bat on our new 2020 quarter.
Yeah, no, and as far as it looks like a tsunami is what it represents on the folded $100, it looks like a tsunami wave is hitting buildings, and that is really creepy. Especially, a lot of people still don't, and I'm sure there's people that are watching right now that do not know what about the Cascadia subduction zone is. It is a guaranteed 9+ earthquake, and this sounds weird. When you say it, it just doesn't sound factual. It goes from Vancouver, Canada, all the way down to the beginning of California. It's right off the coast, and it will literally take out all three of those states, as far as it will be a 9+ earthquake, and it's guaranteed to send a tsunami upwards. We don't even know how. It's literally, the last time it went off was the year 1700. They know from history, from trees, from Japan's history, from everybody, it sends a wave out all the way, that it happens on average every 240 years. It's now been 320. We're about 80 years overdue. FEMA has done huge drills and exercises. I mean, just huge. So it's very creepy. And then they say it's part of other stuff too. Like this was could be on purpose or something.
Right. Right. Did you see that video recently of where I forget which country it was, but there was a massive mud flood, earthquake type deal, and it took a bunch of the houses out into the ocean. I don't know if you've seen that one recently, but a lot of earthquakes optics going on still with everything going on. And I know you're big on that Cascadia zone, and you're absolutely right, man. The optics are high, like I say.
Yeah, well, we'll end up seeing what ends up happening. So, Snaps, thank you for calling in, and I appreciate you every time. We'll make sure to link your channel as well. If you guys haven't checked out Snafu Snaps, make sure to do so. Is there one more thing you wanted to...
Adam?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw on the screen that you have that the $20 bill up, and I just want to say, for those of you that don't know the messaging and the money, the whole story is there. If you notice, the word America is next to that one tower, and the word United is next to that other tower. And then when you flip it over, you'll see what's on it. And the whole fold is a plane. Like I said, the whole story is in that $20 bill on that fateful day. But our currency in our face, the subliminal messaging is all there. And no, thank you. And I appreciate you, man. And, everyone thumbs up this video, man, and let's keep doing it, man. And thank you for doing you, Adam.
Absolutely, man. You have a great night. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. That was, of course, Snafu Snaps. His link will be on our website. You guys can go and check him out if you would like. Let's see here. Yeah, there's all sorts of weird things on money. Money has got, I mean, come on. Look at money. Look at what it has on there. Just really disturbing stuff. Even on the dollar. I remember the first time. And then the all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid. E purpose unum, in God we trust. The whole 9 yards on there. That's like 101 for if you're going down rabbit holes. Some of the symbology on here, and then, of course, the bricks, masonry, all that kind of stuff. And then the little owl, which actually represents, it's very, very hidden. I forget where it even is. I'll have to look at a dollar bill. The little owl representing the banking institutions. Super creepy. Talking about the most creepy stuff right in our pockets. Okay, up next, it looks like we have Solomon. Solomon says peaceful protests and riots. See this. Okay. If you want to pull in Solomon, we can do so. Sorry about that. Calling from Michigan.
Hey, no problem. I got it, Adam. Hey, Solomon, you are live on Marfoogle TV.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Marfoogle fan?
What is going on? So you had some points about the protest here, and then I've got a channel link here.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to let me just get that out of the way first. I wanted to go ahead and plug my channel. It's just starting. I'm doing music, and I'm talking about just things going on around in the world and things relating to the to Yahshua and the Spirit and the Word and everything like that. As far as the protests go, I wanted to say that, first of all, riots are always unnecessary. I don't think that is, I understand it's the language of a people that's unheard, or however that saying goes, but it's unnecessary. At the end of the day, it doesn't get the job done. What gets the job done is being organized and being of sound mind. So we had peaceful protests in Battle Creek, Michigan, and in Flint, Michigan, which really amazed me, because if anybody deserves to be angry and riot, it should be Flint, but they didn't do it. So, yeah, I guess that means something.
That is surprising.
But we had a peaceful protest. The police walked with us. They protested for a few days. I was out there the first day and the third day. But the first day, I was a little disappointed. I left early because I could see it coming. I just had this feeling. It didn't turn into a riot. Instead, they got off task and turned it into a block party, sadly. But I'd rather they do that than riot, I guess.
Well, it sounds like it's kind of like what's going on Capitol Hill, or at least what I saw. And it was it turned it into a social event because nobody's had a social event. I mean, people want to just have a party now. People are kind of pissed off and kept up. Yeah, it is. By the way, it is very surprising since I know you're not there, but you're close. Flint, Michigan, still with all the stuff that's been done to them with the water supply, with everything that's happened with the companies and the manufacturers and everything there. I actually did not know that, so that's pretty huge that nobody out there actually said anything. So, but yeah, they had the police walk with you guys then. Is that what you said?
Yeah, just a couple of guys that have been on the force a few years. I know some of the older guys that are on the force, that they're still working, because my mom used to work with them before I was born. And so I kind of like lived in the station in a good way.
Yeah, not in handcuffs, more like in the cell eating lunch and having fun playing pretend.
Yeah, that type of thing. But it's funny because I grew up on both sides of the tracks, kind of. So.
I get you. So, again, with your channel here, we're going to link it. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go? Shlomo Zachariah?
Yeah, I wanted to say, because of I was listening to the conversation before, and it's very interesting that he brought up what he said about the $100 bill and the tsunami and everything, because so I want to go ahead and share this, and I know how people feel about dreams, but if you are if you know how the word is, if you know how the Father works, this is one of the ways he speaks. So before the riots, I had a dream where he spoke to me, and I'm not going to go into details. It will be here all night, but he spoke to me and he said, "I will unleash my sword." It was kind of dual layers. He said, "I will unleash my sword. I will set free my sword." Excuse me. And usually when he says sword, that's referring to the word of truth. And then the next day, the whole GF thing happened. and it went on from there. So I had another dream recently where I was standing in a pool of water, and then I looked around and realized I was actually inside of a house and realized it was a flood. I was about 6 feet of water, and I heard that this will happen. And then I woke up from that. So it's very interesting that the conversation before he brings that up about the tsunami on the $20 bill, because people should be prepared on the coastline. That's all I'm going to say. Coastlines, you should be prepared.
Well, I mean, there's so many instances where I was just watching this young guy who's 19 years old, never played the lottery ever before. In fact, he thought it was for schmucks. He played the first time because the night before he had a dream about numbers. Like, he literally saw numbers, and his mom jokingly said, "Well, hon, you should go and buy buy lottery tickets." And he actually went, and then he ended up winning $35 million. So, you know, I just think there is some weird things out there. There's some weird things that happen because we're connected in some way to the plan. So, all right. Well, you have a great night, Shlomo Zachariah. I appreciate you. If I said your name wrong, I apologize.
No, perfect. You said it well.
Zachariah. Okay, Shlomo Zachariah. You have a great night and be safe. And if it's your first time call, don't make it your last. I appreciate you.
You guys have a good night.
All right. Good night. I don't, you know, it's one thing. See, that was short and to the point. I do like hearing about dreams in some ways. But I guess it does, just like anybody. Like mine might even have been too long. I know everybody's kind of sat through a long dream teller, and some of them, unless it's, I guess I'm more interested in the end of times ones because I have had them, and I feel like others have too, and they're very specific. It's kind of freaky. All right, yeah, and there's people like Jacob Israel. That guy, he is. The last time I had a dream about water, he called me the next day and said, you know, did you have a dream about water? It was just weird. Like, he is on another level. He's connected. Travis Morse, thank you so much for following me. 4door65 Dart, thank you for following as well. Welcome to the Foogle fam. If you do follow during the show, I usually give you a shout out, so thank you guys for subscribing. Butterfly Babe, love you Marf and all y'all in the Marfland. Snafu Truth Yo. Bushman Canuck says, ignore the quote wannabe friends posts on vids. It's a bot that can hack your channel. Wannabe friends posts on vids. Yeah, please do not click links just anywhere. You guys should have a VPN. Go with Nord or any other VPN. Everybody in the Foogle fam, don't, you know, when you see links, I don't click links. I'll ask for them to send like a screenshot or something that I can see immediately. Turbo Prepper, please pray for me. Thank you and God bless. We will. And there's a list you can actually get on our Discord too. Kara Miller, I hope that ended up working out. Dex, sorry, again, I think I muted that out. If you want to bring in Joseph, I believe. Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph Newhouse. Yeah, Joseph Newhouse. You are live on Marfoogle TV.
Joseph,
hey,
go ahead.
Adam, how you feeling?
Good. I do have to warn you, though. We're trying to stick under that 2-hour mark, so we were going to be strict today. So did you do a video? Usually you have a cool video that kind of goes over something previous. Is that the case today, or just calling in to call in?
Well, a little both. Yeah, I have a video. I heard you had one spot open, so I called. It's about these two recent articles about black holes. The first one predicts that stationary black holes must have at least one light ring. And, yeah, so I did a little video about it, reading the article, and it shows a picture with this black hole and its accretion disk, and there's like a ring around the black hole before the accretion disk. So if you imagine like a CD, like a compact disc that has that clear section in the center, it's like that part is like within where the ring is. And so I thought that was kind of interesting that it matched up with like that opening on the map that, we were looking at that one time. And then, so the second article, I'll move quickly for you, says black holes, they're like a hologram. And it says black holes could be like holograms in which all the information to produce three-dimensional image is encoded on a two-dimensional surface. And so this is like, because the accretion disk is like two-dimensional, it's like weird. And so, yeah, I just thought, some people might think that's interesting, and I kind of looked into that a little bit.
Well, just, quick, on the first thing, so are they saying black holes are a hologram, or is it like a secret door to like an act? This is, this stuff does kind of fascinate me.
Yeah, it's like a door. It's like a door. They don't say that in the article. It's the second article. It says they could be like holograms in which all the information to produce a three-dimensional image is encoded in a two-dimensional surface, which would be like the disk itself.
Okay, this is some other level stuff. I'm going to have to watch your video on this. So the other thing that's been kind of weird, did you see the what we covered just about a week and a half ago where NASA says that they found or possibly found evidence of an alternate dimension where everything goes backwards, time goes backwards, left is right, right is left, down is up, up is down. Did you end up going down that rabbit hole at all?
I've heard you talk about it a couple times, but I didn't actually see that article. It sounds to me like they might be, like kind of with the way they secretly talk about like the Holy Grail, and stuff, and like kind of giving like a as above, so below kind of a speech with it,
Well, it just seems like they always come up with something. It's like they can, it says, a parallel universe is what they tried to call. So they're already having fact checkers say that it's not. It says some wild story headlines claimed NASA had detected a parallel universe, but the reality of the situation is much less exciting. So what happens is they end up, they have some of the side news. They said, I think it's because they found the possibility of evidence that could say that is possible. You know what I mean? And then they'll end up turning it into a headline and then pushing it all over the place. Well, Joseph, I'm going to have to watch your video on that because it sounds like I'm going to actually have to possibly read the articles too. So we can actually link that on our website. Is there one more thing you wanted to say before you go?
No, that's all. Thanks for doing your show, Adam.
Of course, and thank you for doing yours. If again, with everybody that is on today, if they have a channel, if they have a video, or if they have something they shared with us, we share it with you. On the website is all available. Joseph is an awesome guy. Thank you so much for calling in, Joseph. I'll talk to you later and talk to you next time. Again, thank you for always doing kind of backups to the videos and stuff. That's awesome. Again, that is Joseph Newhouse. This is the channel. This is how you end up spelling it. If you guys want to go Love Mob, he is almost at 3,000. We could actually have him at 3,000. Again, Shlomo Zachariah, if you liked his call, I thought it was a very interesting call. You can actually go. He is at 13 subscribers. I don't think he's going to still be there tomorrow, but again, his link is going to be on our website with his video there or his link. Check this out. Let's see. He is already at 28, so doubled it up. If you want to go Love Mob him, we'll pull him up tomorrow on the next show, and we'll see if we can get the Foogle fam over there to show love. I think that is the main thing that, all of us can do, and it doesn't hurt any of us. Dex, love you, brother.
Great show, man. Love you too. All
right, so we're going to try to cut this as quick as possible because our videos are not processing. It's absolutely crazy. Let's see who is actually on. We'll see if we're going to be hosting over on DLive. I'm going to say thank you to a few of you here. I just really can't say enough to some of the people that really come out and help, like Susan Donahue, Turbo Prepper. Again, thank you. Bushman Canuck. Butterfly Babe, Western Body, Claire Spence, Christy Myers, Private Eye Ty, Mary Lee, Western Body, Old's Question No Matter What. And then on, we're going to be shouting some folks out here. Not My Childhood Sky, Gone Girl 777. I'm glad you're feeling better, by the way. A lot of people were really concerned and really reaching out. Jilly J, Love the Family. Gone Girl 777, thank you for the pew. That's my thing for Ninja Guinea, by the way, now. Gone Girl, thank you. I appreciate that. Sandra Lee. Kelly, again. Lee Noah. Pew! Think Kent State. 4 banged kids. Escalation in Seattle being predicted by George Webb on YT. Think Kent State. 4 kids. Bang. Escalation in Seattle being predicted by George Webb on YT. Leah Noah, thank you for that. When I'm doing this, it's hard for me to process and remember other things unless I've got a visual aid. I will look into that. Fallout Shelter with 21 viewers hosting. Thank you, Fallout Shelters. That's really appreciated. Thank you. It's awesome when another creator here supports another creator. That's pretty badass. Gone Girl 77. Make sure to check out Fallout Shelter, by the way. Sandra Lee, don't click anything that says want to be friends. Yeah, especially if they spell wanta like Santa. Yeah, that's creepy. Gone Girl, Renegade PD, T. Bori, Lemon Essence, Kelly2334, Angel Levin. Thank you, guys. N. Sanchez. Thank you. Gnostic. All of you guys are absolutely awesome. Travis Moore, again, thank you for following. 4-door 565 Dart. 4-door 65 Dart. I love it. It's a cool car there. Thank you, guys. Much love. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. We'll be on the pandemic. We'll be on the pandemic. We'll be on the pandemic. Wide awake and angry, gonna go back now. Old days thinking like that Ben Jarrett and the Carol. Got that zip rear and that new age. Chance Paladin, Alien Workshop. Shut up a cake with the party hunter hat. Oh, the Joseph Newhouse, Melodize, and the Minionators, and the rest of my guys. Stamper Love and Bill Balls and Rackets. Maui Racing, creator and realtor out there. Like Amanda Gravy, Devon, Elock, and we ain't crazy. With a no law 55 and having with a good throat mom KD Unity Earth Woman and a tall drink of water chop money water gonna bring it back somebody special wearing that powder bring it on Lisa snap food snaps hey T-Bori what the crowd calm down it's just me Red 19 sit
Jackie Gal and the Kobe Jack Beagle. I'm about to bring it out native and the Congress guys and the Gale Firestorm and everybody's pies. With the go back and they gotta get stocks with the Anita Torres and the April Osborne. Gotta do it like the sunshine, beach, hot money, somebody special, scrap, oh, last. Wanna bring it back, wanna bring it back. I'm Minnie Mouse. Wanna sing, yeah, oh yeah, howdy ho, sassy girl, jump on, every world. Wanna bring it back, with the diving girl, with the bad big south, T-ball. Got to walk it, gotta go back, rock it, gonna do it all day long, and now you know it's the same old song. Got the Mininator on, and the Irish pieces gotta see that no one's gonna love me. Marfoogle News, Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News, Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News. Apocalypse roams, looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse roams. Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News, Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News. Lady Savanius, job farm man, the calm down. It shows me Professor Drew Scrapulous with the J-Store organ. Thank you for the support. Hey, 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 hey. Congo 777, thanks for being number one. Audrey's visuals, thank you for all your part. My ear is messed up and I think I'm tone deaf tonight. Hey, Moxie, Lady Kelly, 2334, and can't hide your flag, girl. Gone Girl 777, Audrey's Visual Arts, thank you for being number 2. Moxie, Lady Kelly 2334, and Kahaja Girl. You guys are this stream's top 5. This month, Gone Girl's still number 1. Kelly 2334 is number 2. Accelera Sean's number 3. Reverend to the End is number 4. Zippy Moons. On our all-times list, Amy R. N Times, Carol Palmer 512, Jamin Draco, and Zippy Moons. Where are you, Amy R? You don't have to come, you're the queen. Just want to see your love. I said I'll see your love, and I'll see you here, your family, and know it's gotta be so clear. And if we could walk on down, gonna bring it down the brown. Walks of a life to go, everybody know you knows. bones. Looking outside of a window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse from. Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News, Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News, Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News, Marfoogle News, where are you? Only news I use. Marfoogle News. You've got the gale firestorm, you've got Lord Andrew, kiss the sky and jam, not my high tower, who's sky gonna go and fly, oh well check out why you've got that last straw and let it rain. I love big boys and Dixie doors, and everybody knows that the renegade PDs and the Jams, Moxie ladies, scrupulous, delicious, gonna bring it back now, they delicious, with that stiletto and a derail. I'm never gonna go it now, you know we know the twisted lock and everybody. I've got the asthma for you and Moxie Lady Cat and Cookie 95. Thank you for the Moxie ladies of the crowd and getting skated. Gonna bring back it now, you know that we've got mama bills. Da 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 da, da 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 da, do do do. By the way, I was hoping if there is a doctor in the Marfoogle family, specifically somebody that deals with internal stuff, if you could please email Adam at Marfoogle News. That is, of course, if you are an actual medical doctor, please give me a ring at adam@marfooglenews.com. Are you an MD? The Foogle family needs your help. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. Marf.